Sup, y'all? Y'all already know what time it is. If you trying to fix your life without being aligned with God first, you're starting at the wrong level. Listen to me. This isn't about religion. This isn't about converting you to anything. This is about understanding how power actually works. And most of you are fighting battles on the wrong battlefield, which is why you keep losing. You trying to control your circumstances. You trying to manage all the outcomes in your life, fighting anxiety, you fighting depression, anger, you're fighting fear, and you doing it from the ground up, from earth and from chaos. And I'm here to tell you that will never work because power doesn't start where you think it starts. This week, I'm going to show you the entire system, the pyramid of power, the three pillars that hold everything together, and how to actually master your life instead of just surviving it, because that's old and played out. But before we get into any of that, you need to understand one thing: everything starts with God, not second, not eventually, first, always, in all situations. I want you to picture something with me real quick. Close your eyes if you need to. Better yet, pull $1 out of your pocket. You're going to see a pyramid. Not just one, but you're going to see two. At the top, there's a small pyramid floating, illuminated, and is separated. At the peak of that pyramid, there's an all seeing eye. That's God, that's source. That's the origin of all power, all clarity, all peace. Below it, there's a massive pyramid. That's earth. That's your daily life. That's your struggles, your bills, your relationships, the anxiety that you constantly battling against, depression, your anger, the chaos you wake up to every single day. Now, here's what most people don't get about this. These two pyramids are not equal. They're not partners. They're not in balance. The small pyramid on top holds all the power. The massive pyramid below, that only functions properly when it's connected to the one above it. Power flows downward, not upward. You cannot master earth without alignment to God. It's that simple. You cannot regulate your nervous system without connecting to source. You cannot control your emotions, your reactions, or your life without starting at the top of that pyramid. But most of you are trying to work from the bottom up. And that's where you're getting everything wrong because you're trying to fix your finances, your relationships, your mental health, and your career. And you're wondering why nothing is working out for you. Why you take two steps forward only to take three steps back. Why you feel like you're drowning no matter how hard you try to swim against the tide. It's because you're trying to build power from earth. The earth doesn't generate power, it receives power. God is the generator. You are the receiver. And when you disconnect from the source, everything below starts to malfunction and go the wrong way. Let me be clear about what I mean when I'm saying God. I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about what church you go to or what's your denomination or what you call divine. When I say God, I'm talking about order, alignment, source energy, the foundation of everything. God is the principle that when you surrender control and reconnect to something greater than yourself, your entire system is going to recalibrate. Oneness with God regulates the nervous system. Let me say that again. The key to everything is oneness with God regulates the nervous system. You know how you could be perfectly fine 1 minute Then something triggers you and suddenly your heart is racing, your thoughts are spiraling, your breath is shallow, and you feel like you about to lose it. You that close to snapping. That's your nervous system and it's deregulation. And you can try all the breathing exercises you want. You can meditate, you can journal, you can do ice baths, cold showers, yoga, grounding techniques, and some of these things may help temporarily. But if you're not connected to God first, you are trying to regulate yourself through your own limited power. And your power eventually runs out. It always does. Calm does not come from circumstances. Calm comes from connection. The moment personally that I reconnect to God, the moment I acknowledge that I am not in control of my outcomes, but I am connected to the source of all creation and all peace, my nervous system starts to settle. The racing thoughts stop, spiral slows, anxiety loses its grip over me. And this is not theory, it's physiology. This is how you were designed to function. You were never meant to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You were never meant to generate peace from chaos. You were designed to connect to the source and let power flow through you. But you have to connect first. So let me show you exactly how this works in real time, right? Earlier last week, I woke up in a bad mood. Not because anything happened or because I got bad news. I just woke up off. You know the feeling where the energy is just heavy, it's weighing on you from the moment you open your eyes just for absolutely no reason. My first thought was to, of course, push through it, get up, make my cup of coffee, start working and pretend it's not there. Remain positive. That's what I used to do. Just muscle through the bad days and hope they pass. But I've learned something very important, and that's why I'm sharing it with you. Ignoring dysregulation, it doesn't make it go away. It just means you're walking around with a loaded weapon, and eventually, what's going to happen? Someone's going to catch a stray bullet. So instead, I stopped myself and I sat with my feeling of uneasiness, and I made a choice. I thanked God for the test because that's what a bad mood is. It's a test, it's information. It's an opportunity to prove that your power doesn't come from how you feel. Your power comes from where you're connected. So I said out loud, God, I don't know why I feel like this, but I know this feeling I'm not about to let this define my day. I know this mood is not who I am. I know you are the source of my peace. You control all circumstances. So I'm choosing to reconnect with you right now, right now. And I sit there in silence for maybe 5 minutes, just breathing, just being present with God instead of fighting this awkward feeling. And you know what happened? The mood didn't just instantly vanish. I didn't just get some magical euphoric shift, but something else happened. I returned to center. The dysregulation stopped. The spiral didn't take me with it. I didn't let that bad mood dictate my day, my energy, my words, my decisions for the rest of the day. I checked it and corrected it on site. I stayed connected to the top of the pyramid. And because I stayed connected, I had power over the situation, the bottom. That's the system working in real time. And here's the realization that changed everything for me. And I hope it does the same for you. You don't control outcomes, but you know what you do control? Situations. Most people get this backwards. They think they're supposed to control what happens to them. They think they're supposed to make sure everything in their life works out perfectly. And when it doesn't, they fall apart. But that's not your job. That's God's job. Your job is to control the situation, not the outcome. Just the situation, the moment, you're now. What's the difference in what I'm saying? Let me break it down to you. The outcome is whether you get the promotion at your job or not. The situation is how you show up to the interview. The outcome is whether the relationship works. But the situation is how you communicate and how you treat that other person and how you show up during times of conflict, good times and bad times. If the outcome is whether your business succeeds, the situation is the effort you put in, the integrity you operate with, the vision that you're holding in your mind. You decide how you feel. You decide what kind of day it's going to be. You decide whether you're going to let a bad mood, a rude comment, somebody talking to you crazy, or a disappointing result. You decide whether you're going to let any of that control your energy. You don't have to feel just because you're triggered. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. You do not have to feel just because you're triggered. Something can happen that would normally send you into a whole spiral. And you know what you can do? You can choose not to spiral. You can acknowledge the trigger, reconnect to God, regulate your nervous system, and respond from a place of power instead of reacting from a place of chaos. Sometimes it's just best to say, you know what, bro, you got that, and walk away from the situation. Be alone in your own space to clear your head, and don't try to win a temporary battle just to lose the war, because that's a temporary situation in which even if you win, you lose. There's a lot of people doing life in prison right now, and even more people that have lost their lives because they handled that situation incorrectly. Self-control using regulation is mastery. That's exactly what we build towards over here on Benrich Mindset. Now, let me tell you when this system actually matters. This system only works on bad days, to keep it real. Anxious days, depressed days, and your angry days. Good days don't require mastery. When everything is going well, when you're feeling great, when life is smooth sailing, anybody can have a good attitude. Anybody can be peaceful and positive and grateful. Facts. It doesn't require you to prove anything. Power is proven when things are not easy. Power is proven when you wake up in a bad mood and choose gratitude anyway. Power is proven when somebody disrespects you and you choose not to react. You're not giving your power away. Power is proven when your plans fall apart and you still choose to remain calm. That's when you find out if you're actually connected to the top of the pyramid or if you're just pretending. Because here's the truth. Most people only have power when life is cooperating with them. The second life pushes back, you know what they do? They crumble, they spiral, or they fold because they lose control. They gave away their power by getting upset. But when you understand the pyramid of power, when you understand that your strength comes from God, not from circumstances, you become unshakable. Not because nothing bothers you in life is perfect, but because when you do things, you know how to return to center in every situation. You know how to reconnect. You know how to regulate. You know how to stay in your power even when the world is around you is out of control. That's what we building towards this week. So now I'm going to introduce y'all to the 3 pillars that support this entire system. I'm not going to get into detail yet. That's coming later this week. I just want to introduce y'all to them to let you know exactly what's ahead and what's to come. Pillar number 1 is introspection, self-realization. This is where you learn who you actually are beneath all the drama and trauma that the world has caused you, all the programming and performance. Pillar 2 is nervous system regulation and self-regulation. This is where you learn to calm your body, quiet your mind, and stop reacting to everything like it's a life or death situation. Pillar number 3 is application, practice. This is where you take everything you learning from this channel and you use it in real time on bad days when it actually matters and you going through it. These 3 pillars all sit on the foundation of God. Without God, they collapse. With God, they become the structure that holds your entire life together. We gonna get deep into each one later this week. But for right now, all I need you to know is this. The system exists, the system works, and you're about to learn how to use it. Before we close, I need to talk to you about energy and your responsibility of it, because your energy affects others. Even when you don't say a word, even when you think you're hiding your bad energy, people don't see your inner battle. All they see is your external state. If you walk into a room anxious, people feel anxious. If you walk into a room angry, people are going to feel tension. If you walk in dysregulated, you dysregulate the people around you. That's not judgment, y'all. Like, this is reality. I'm just being honest with you. Energy is contagious. And if you're a leader, a parent, a partner, a manager, a friend, people look up to or look to for information, your regulation is not just about you. It's about everyone in your sphere that you share your space with. This is why I've learned to isolate during bad moods. Not to punish myself, not to hide, but because I recognize that if I'm not centered, I ain't got no business projecting that on the other people, giving them my bad energy. You got to look at yourself as a lighthouse. When you're regulated, connected to God, operating from the top of the pyramid, you emit light, clarity, calm, direction. That's why people love you and look to you the way they do. But when you're dysregulated and disconnected and you're spiraling and you're emitting chaos, people gonna steer towards you because they think you need help. But the only thing that's gonna happen is they gonna crash into your wall of destruction. So part of mastery is knowing when to be alone, when to step back, when to reconnect before you re-engage with people. Regulation restores harmony, not just in you, it restores it in everyone around you. That's true leadership. Responsibility, that's real power, because you're being responsible with your energy. So check this out. God is at the top of the pyramid, always, non-negotiable. That's where power originates. When you connect to God within yourself, your nervous system regulates. When your nervous system regulates, you can think clearly. Once you can think clearly, you can begin to act wisely. And once you begin to act wisely, you can master all situations, not outcomes. What I said is situations. And when you master situations, you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the architect of your life by taking your control and your power back and not giving away. That's the foundation. That's the pyramid of power in its true essence. So this week, we gonna build from the top down, layer by layer, through the 3 pillars, from theory to practice, from understanding to mastery. But it all starts with what I'm talking about tonight. It all starts with God. So if you take nothing else from this, take this. Reconnect and come back to center right now. Before you do anything else today, before you try to fix your life, your problems, your relationship, manage your stress, and solve your problems, reconnect to source first. Because without that connection, you're building on sand. And the moment life pushes back, you gon' tap out. But when you build on God, when you start at the top of the pyramid, you create and shine light on everything beneath you. So this week, we're building power from the top down. Stay connected, stay regulated, and stay ready. Let's go. And if this message brought you value and helped you recenter, support the channel by clicking the Buy Me a Coffee link below, because we appreciate you, your support, and giving us y'all time. Help us build this channel up into what God wanted to be. And on that note, we're going to end it like we always do. All gas, no brakes. Lock in. Peace.